Live. Here we go. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to DeVore Live, sponsored by DeVore Capital Group. Brought to you by DeVore Media. How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, man.
What's going on, man?
Hey,
Beautiful
man,
Wednesday.
we got a new co-host today. today. Man, Jason. Say what's up, Jason.
What's going on, guys? Looking forward to it today.
Yes, so what do
Going.
you hear at DeVore Capital?
I manage the production on the roofing side.
Yeah, awesome. Jason is a savant in his field. And we also are joined with, man, Wes Decent. How you doing, Wes?
Yeah, man. I'm good.
Yes, sir.
Had me some Mexican food a minute ago. Belly full.
Picked the wrong chair.
And Will Reed. What's up, Will?
What's going on, man?
It's going to be awesome, man. It's going to be a great show. Man, how's the weekend? How's everything going for you guys this week?
Man, it's going great. We're in March. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the topics we'll discuss. So.
For sure.
Jason's favorite week of the year. I know.
I definitely.
My favorite week was one of my favorites was last week, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
March is a great month.
I know.
March
So
is a good month.
TPC just concluded.
Yeah.
Man. So obviously our very own golf savant. Wes loves golf. All
guru.
things golf.
I am
Really.
all things
Man. So
golf.
tell us your thoughts on TPC. How it ended. Obviously, it rained out on Sunday and it carried into Monday.
Yeah, we were there Sunday. That was awesome.
Until it wasn't.
Till it wasn't. Till it wasn't. We were
No
we
traffic.
were posted on a good hole. I got a fist bump from Keegan, the captain, the Ryder Cup captain. He came by. That was after his hole in one on 13.
That's awesome.
Just 2 holes later, 4 holes later, he's walking to 18. Anka and I both get a fist bump. I called him out. Hey, captain. He gave me a cool fist bump. That was kind of sweet.
That's cool.
And then we headed over to a hole, and it just happened to be Minwoo and Scheffler, so we got to see them tee off. That was pretty cool. I still got my running thing that Scheffler's not going to win a tournament this year. I told the guy next to me, and he's just like, "Oh, you need to yell that out to him." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that." But he looked like he was in a bad mood anyway because he wasn't
going to win a tournament forever.
But yeah, then it got rained out. We tried to wait it out, and it took too long, so we got out of there. But great finish, great tournament. It always is. Parking is to be desired. They got to figure that out because they can't get people out of there.
Wow.
I don't know what that is, but shout out to TPC for doing a great job, except for their parking. But man, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Great time at the TPC. It always is every year.
What was one of your memorable moments? Was it a fist bump or?
Memorable moments. Yeah, I don't know if there's necessarily a memorable moment, but I was like try to check out different players that I've never seen. So I followed Minwoo a little bit because that guy's a beast. Little skinny guy can just hit the crap out of the ball. Just so solid, man. These guys are unbelievable. Cool to get a fist bump from Keegan. I just happened to be there, and he was the next group coming through, so that was pretty sweet. That's kind of the cool thing. I know the spots, so I can go to the spots where usually if they hit balls out of bounds or their bailout points, I know I'm going to be close to somebody, and I know little spots because I've been there going for so many years. That a player will walk right by you, and if you don't pay attention, you won't even know it. You can get that close to them at different times.
Wow.
So they'll just walk right by you.
No security?
No, I mean, security, but it's not like they're on the ropes all the way down.
For sure, yeah.
And there's different parts where they kick around, and the players will swing through, walk right by, and you can catch them, say hi. I've met some of the artists on Tuesday before there. McCord, I've met him. He's a wild dude. He gets off at 18. He's sweating like a crazy man, and he pulls out a cigarette, starts puffing, and I go, "Hey, Gary McCord." He's the announcer. I'm like, "Can I get an autograph? That'd be cool." And he goes like this, "Dude, man, you got to give me a second. I'm dying right now."
No wonder you died.
Yeah, but just fun stuff, man.
Yeah.
Just cool stuff over the years.
Awesome.
So it's been a lot of cool stuff over the years, more than just one memorable moment for the week. But
No, for sure. I wonder if there's ever been some kind of incident with a fan and a golfer.
By far, Rory had one this year.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, there's a kid on 18 practice round. Rory hooks it into the water on 18, and the kid makes a comment just like Augusta 2011, right? So a little sore spot apparently, because then Rory doesn't say anything. He goes over, puts his club away, walks over to the kid, and goes, "Hey, give me your phone." Kid hands him over his phone, and he just goes walking away with it up the fairway, and the kid's like,
No
"Dude, that's
way.
my phone." Yeah, and so come to find out, that guy was a collegiate golfer for Texas.
Wow.
And shouldn't be saying, honestly, it wasn't that. I mean, it was just a comment. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
it wasn't like he yelled at him in his backswing trying to be a complete idiot.
Yeah.
But, obviously got caught. Everything gets caught on video anymore, right? So he had to make formal announcements, of apologies, and the coach has apologized. And come on, he's only 20 years old. They're going to make mistakes and all that. Rory refused to really talk about it. But, yeah, he didn't like that. Stuff like that happens all the time, actually.
Okay.
So what do you do with the phone? They throw
That nobody knows. They asked him, and Rory's like, let's move on. Didn't say what he did with the phone, so I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I know there's a lot of people there. My son and I were watching. Question is the crowd following more the golfers, or is it kind of stick to the hole?
Depends. If you love 17, you park there early. You stay there all day. You watch everybody come through 17 because that's where all the action is. Balls are going to go in the water. Close holes, maybe a hole in one, all that. And then there's a whole group of people that will follow their famous golfer. Like Rory's group when they were coming through, you would need to go 2 holes ahead to get a spot because the crowd will just, and then you can't get anywhere close to see. So it just depends on kind of what you're trying to accomplish.
Who do you think had the largest crowd?
Rory by far.
Yeah. Wow.
Rory by far.
Do you think Sunday's rain out affected Monday?
It did.
Yeah.
I mean, and the winds were totally different.
Okay.
I mean, Rory hit a great birdie on 16. It's a 3-hole aggregate. But then Rory, he actually bogeyed 17, but J.J. Spawn put, 2 in the water. So he was toast. Right at that point, he was toast. And it was just because the winds were totally different. He said he thought he hit a good shot, and the winds just took it and threw it off the back of the green. And at that moment, he was done. So they much rather promised you would want to finish that first time, during that, rain out delay. They would have finished that night. They would have been much more happy than to come back on Monday and try to put 3 holes together,
sure.
under that stress, right?
Yeah.
So
As a golf fan, wouldn't you prefer it? You got the famous 17th. Why not just go out on the 17th, 1 hole? Let's just go for it instead of going into the next day.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
I don't really understand that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Every tournament has their different playoff rules.
Okay.
Some
it.
tournaments you got to play all 18.
Gotta
Some is
tighten that
just
up a
one
little
hole,
bit.
and they keep going back to it. So it's kind of crazy how they do it. It's just everything's always different for the tournament. But
right.
And obviously TBC is concluded, but man, March Madness. We're in March.
Let's go.
It's about to be. It's my favorite month. It's about to be. Will's like, I don't care.
Will's like,
you know what I'm saying?
nothing about it.
Listen, man.
Will's like, who's playing?
Man, so who do y'all have, man, for the tournaments? What's y'all bracket looking like? I know it's probably not all completed, but who do you guys taking it all, or who do you think is gonna make a deep run? What are you guys' thoughts?
You guys already know where I'm going.
No, whatever.
Florida
Orange and
alumni,
blue,
he can't
Gators
get off
all the
of
way.
it. He can't
What
get
makes
off
me
of it.
nervous now, the national media,
Yeah.
my son and I were watching the other night. I think every single one of the guys picked Florida. So I don't like to see that.
Wow, okay.
But I think it's a veteran-led team.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of other good teams. They got a tough bracket.
So you say all the guys pick Florida?
Quite a few of them. Now, we were watching the selection show.
You're watching
Okay.
the SEC network?
Yeah, right. No, it wasn't the SEC, but it was when they were doing the selection show.
Yeah.
I think it was all up 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5.
Wow.
All of them picked Florida.
Yeah.
Either over Duke
That's
or
crazy.
Houston.
Have
I
they
think
ever
were
made the
most of
Final
them.
Four before in basketball?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Florida went back-to-back.
Yeah.
When I was in college, down in Gainesville back in
2014?
06, 07.
Oh, so okay.
In 14, they went to the Final Four.
Okay.
Right. But, yeah, I think they've got a great shot.
Yeah. They're
Won-
going to lose to
won
Auburn.
the SEC tournament, a record
Tough
14
bracket
teams
though,
in.
man. You got UConn, Texas. You got St. John's. I mean,
Potential second-round matchup with UConn, back-to-back champions.
yeah.
Yeah,
You got
UConn.
Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
I mean, tons of Hall of Fame
I don't
coaches.
think UConn goes as far. I think it's an Auburn, Florida, with Auburn taking it.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm going.
Auburn
with it.
struggled as of late.
Yes,
Lost,
that's what I'm saying.
3
You got St.
3 out of
John's
4
too. How do
games?
you can't
hold
throw
on.
out St. John's?
Come on, y'all. Duke is actually going to win it all. We're getting Cooper Flag back, and obviously he's
Is
an
he
absolute
100%?
dog.
Is he
He won't be
100%?
100%. But I think what they're going to do is tomorrow they may play him for a few minutes
Limit
just to
him.
get him in the limit
They don't
a
need
little
him
bit.
tomorrow.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We'll clear our 16 seed, but I think the biggest thing is after that we're going to need him at full strength to really to have a dog in the fight. But we cleaned up the ACC without him. Obviously people are like, oh, who's in the ACC? But you know what I'm saying? We did do a run without Cooper Flag. So I'm excited to see him back in the lineup. But also, man, there's been some people, Proctor, he stepped up, became a great leader for the team. And we're always going to have, our
They're
sharpshooters. You
Man,
said
they're
what?
deep. They're deep.
They're
Yeah, but we're deep,
Y'all
man,
have probably
like-
more NBA,
Ready talent.
first-round pick
Yeah, at
talent.
least 3 or 4, I think.
But they're young.
No,
I think a lot of them
a lot of
freshmen,
them,
correct?
a lot of them are very young for
Most
sure.
of 'em.
Crazy.
Yeah, most of them are freshmen. I think Proctor is the only.
The one, yeah.
He's a veteran.
He's been there a couple years.
yeah,
But the
so-
real question is, who did Will pick to win? Because he closed his eyes and filled out his bracket. And so, who did Will pick
Well, I
to
put-
win the tournament for our office pool? So we got an office pool going. Everybody's in. For
So
50,
I put my whole bracket together. I put my whole bracket together in about 2.5 minutes, and I use a lot of science in my methodology. But
Chat GPT.
I got Florida going. I got Florida going all the way.
That's good. Will's smart.
And I based some of that on, so it's been scientifically proven over the course of the last decade or so that Duke fans are delusional.
Right.
Oh my
And
God!
I've heard
it's-
that one.
Yeah, it's a medical science thing.
Wool
you
City.
know, brought to you by the same folks that brought you COVID-19. I'm sorry. Trust the science, right?
919.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, to watch. I think, I typically don't do brackets. This is probably the first time that I've actually done it, but you got some vested interest, right? So,
Yeah, it gives you a reason to watch, right?
yeah. I watched the back end of the Florida Alabama game the other night, and Alabama just got destroyed, so it'd be fun.
Yeah, Florida's deep, man. I mean,
are.
and they're long.
They got
man.
9, and
they're
they might even
aggressive.
have one coming back.
I know.
But
Backcourt.
they are deep.
Backcourt. They can shoot the ball. I mean, they're playing for each other, man. That's just.
But, I mean, three of the guard, the backcourts, they're all seniors,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Weren't highly recruited kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason was the champion last year of the office pool.
Going
For
back
sure.
to back.
So he says he's going. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
What
We're going
3,
back to back.
4 weeks from now? Is it roughly 3 weeks from now? We'll
Yeah,
know who
couple
the champion
weeks.
is. A couple weeks. So
Yeah.
we'll have to recircle back, see who did right.
For sure.
Picking all them upsets.
Well, a local school that did do a run. What year did JU? up here?
JU was back in 1970, the 69-70 season.
Okay.
They made a run.
Yeah,
I think it was
for sure.
40 teams back then.
Yeah.
I think they finished the season once the tournament was over. I think 27-2, led by Artis Gilmore.
Okay. Awesome.
Big,
yeah.
7'2".
Yeah.
Just, I mean, the rebounds. He might grab 20, 30 rebounds a game. I mean,
Jeez.
he carried them.
That was
I
the
think they had-
original Dennis Rodman.
right? He was a beast, but I think they lost. I think they lost maybe by 10. I think it was UCLA
Okay.
in the championship.
Yeah.
What a run for
Yeah,
small
for
school
real.
JU.
Yeah, and JU plans to expand. And talking about JU, they plan to expand program involving job markets, which is cool because, and JU, it's funny because I've been here maybe 12, 13 years, and JU's always been like this, man, like a school you can't touch, very private, very like exclusive. So, man, to see that, Tim Koss shares his vision on the university's growth, trying to get it outside. What do y'all think about the expansion and the evolution of what JU wants to do?
Well, the thing because it is private
Yeah.
and it is very expensive.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it will always have a certain level of exclusivity to
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
One of the things they've toyed around with was, really expanding their collegiate sports programs, right? Which is hard to do because they are private. They don't do the scholarships the same way as like a state university does. As far as getting into more of, business and, like you can go to any college in the country and get a business degree.
Yeah.
Vast majority of those degrees are not actually going to teach you how to do anything in business.
Oh, yeah,
right.
for sure.
So whatever an institution decides to do is they need to teach these young people relevant skills that they can step into an organization and produce at a high level earlier than, I have my business administration degree, so what am I going to do with it? Right?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You need actual tangible skills to get you in. And
Well,
that's,
yeah, because they're actually known more for healthcare,
Sure.
business,
Yeah.
technology. It says here in the article they plan to expand into financial technology, artificial intelligence, and logistics.
Yep.
I mean, that's something that if you come out of college with, probably going to be pretty useful
Oh,
compared
100%.
to, I got a BA in, basket weaving, and I'm gonna, and I think I'm gonna come out with a $60,000 a year job,
Yeah,
and then these
100%.
kids are, working at McDonald's, with their degree, with their
you
big
do make
degree.
nice baskets.
I do make very
yeah,
nice baskets,
You
you
do.
know.
That Pinterest
know.
is going to kick off. You're going to do well.
I'm telling you, but obviously they got a great relationship with Mayo. Their healthcare is one of the top. Their nursing program is one of the top in the country, or at least in the region. So
They've also got the new college that's being built. The
that's
medical
been-
college
yeah.
that they're spending tons of money on. I mean, I think they partnered with LECOM, and I mean all the medical fields, you know, in around Duval County.
Here's the
partnered
best
with them,
thing
and
is all of that's helping Arlington revitalize, which is just a
100%.
crap area, you know,
it
to
needs it.
a
And
lot
it
of
used to be the area
used to be
everybody
the
wanted to
area.
live
very
in.
desirable.
and
Very
then it
desirable,
just
yeah.
went downhill.
Yeah.
You know, the mall is destroyed over there. Just
Yeah,
that whole
100%.
area has always got crime issues and everything else. So I think that will help just build that area up.
But that
to
Belks
make
at the
for
mall,
ano-
just to
you
let
know.
you guys know, is always discounted, clearance all the time. So if you guys are looking for a nice suit,
Yeah, you just gotta
I'll
wear your
check that out.
raincoat. You
Yeah.
gotta wear your raincoat when you go in there because you know all the holes in the ceiling.
No,
But,
for sure. No, but it's cool what man JU is doing, and obviously you talked about the partnerships with Mayo Clinic, Baptist Health, man Black Knight, and CSX, just to create specialized programs to prepare students for the evolving job market, which is super cool because I always man, why do we tell kids to go to college? And it's good to do that, but some people are they're made for trades.
Right.
And trades run America. Good grief. You know what I mean? We all need a
100%.
plumber. We all need an electrician. We all need a mechanic. But yet sometimes those are deemed as undesirable, but we all need it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's one of those things where it's cool to see colleges make this shift because they kind of have to make this shift because education just isn't the same. And it's cool with the revitalization of Arlington because we know everything that's happening downtown, the stadium updates. Man, a $532.14 million permit for the stadium of the future is currently in review. What do y'all think about that?
I think it's awesome for
Yeah.
the city. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the revitalize. We just talked about Arlington. Now getting it downtown. Plus, have you guys been to a Jaguar game in the summer?
Oh, it's
cooking.
Early in the
unbearable.
season?
Yeah, it's hot.
It's
unbearable.
miserable.
You go spend time in the concourse.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Last time I went, I think it hadn't. The first quarter hadn't ended. I was literally dripping sweat. I mean,
It's
I
awful.
sweat already, but
Yeah,
I was
it's
looked like I
awful.
was in the shower.
It's awful, and so that should help a lot. You know, it'll bring more attractions
Right.
as well, bigger concerts, bigger things. I mean, you know, it just helps. You know, forget the Jaguars for a minute. It just helps downtown. It helps bring people to this area. I just met a guy the other day. Who was it we were talking to? One of our business reps for one of our programs, and he's like, "Oh, I'll come see you guys at your office." And he's like, "Well, wait a minute, you're downtown. I don't want to come anywhere near there." And it's like,
Yeah, meet me on the other side of the
meet me
river.
on the other side of the bridge. And it's like, oh my gosh, you know. So, you know, downtown is still a eyesore place to, you know, just different things that people still don't want to come to. That's going to help out a lot. That's what more I'm looking forward to is a cool, fun, upbeat, vibrant downtown that people want to do stuff at. Gives Jacksonville another whole area. You know, if you got the beach, you got town center, then you got, you know, Nocatee, now you got, and you got Ponte Vedra, now you got downtown maybe to do something in. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I remember 20 plus years ago, a lot of people would come right down here on Bay Street, hanging out. They had a strip of places
For
you
sure.
could go to. You had the landing, people go eat. So for them to do that and make it happen. Plus, that stadium's, how old is that stadium?
No, can you
It
say-
needs to be renovated.
Yeah.
I mean, it's time.
Yeah.
The only thing that stinks is 2 years they're going to be playing what in Orlando.
Right.
Is it Orlando?
I think
Orlando
that's
or
probably what
Gainesville.
Yeah, I think
I don't know
they-
if they decided.
Yeah, I think they have decided it'll
Was
be
it Orlando?
Yeah.
Maybe the camping world.
Yeah.
Plus, they'll get a new 30-year lease out of it.
That's
So I think with no relocation, so the Jaguars.
So at least we know the Jaguars.
yeah,
are
you
going
hear all the
stay for
London
30
They may
years.
stink, but
rumors.
yeah.
they may not be good, but they ain't going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Which is dope because I mean we need it now more than ever. I think man we still have a lot of people moving into the city, and I think a revitalized downtown is literally what we need. I know we all missed the landing, but it is gone.
Right.
And I'll never probably stay at the Four Seasons that they're building over there. But you know what I'm saying? It'd
Hey,
be
you
cool.
never know.
Yeah, I know, right? It would be cool to drive by and see it.
So when will it actually start? Is it this season they're out, or is it after this season?
It's after this season.
After
So
this,
they
I
got this
believe.
season in the stadium, and then
Yeah.
it's going
Right.
to kick them out.
Yeah, 2006 and 7 they'll be in Orlando, and in 2028 hopefully they'll be back.
Yeah, the renderings are cool, man. I'm looking at these renderings.
looks awesome.
You know, the stadium of the future. That should be fun. That should be cool.
I was wondering like exactly what it was. So what's
So,
reducing the heat? It says
I
a
think that's a
protective
li-
canopy.
Dude, I think it's a little misleading. All right,
Right.
we can't call it.
Can't get it. Yeah.
It's not the stadium of the future.
Right.
It's the stadium.
It's our
of,
stadium.
of our future.
Future. A more desirable game day experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we do a lot of roofing, okay? When
Yeah.
the roof
Right.
leaks, we put a blue tarp on.
Right.
Yeah.
We are putting $1 billion blue tarp on the stadium.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah,
happening.
Man, state of the art.
If we were going state of the art, it would be retractable. It would be,
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
there's
It's
Yeah.
a transparent protective shell,
Yeah.
providing sun, wind, and rain
Transparent
protection,
protect-
Mhm.
reducing heat
Yeah, we
retention by 70%.
Where the heck did they get
I
that
sure
from?
hope it does, because it's going to cost a lot of money.
No, for sure.
we got $1 billion umbrella.
Right.
Okay.
I know. I'm trying to see how this is going to work. And
Yeah, $775 million from the public. So we it better be nice. We're paying for a lot of that.
No,
so.
for sure, man. Springfield is real close to downtown, and there's been a demolishment. I'm gonna read the article. It says a vacant building in Springfield, particularly, partially collapsed Monday evening. The building deemed unsafe is being demolished over a period of days. The cause of the collapse is unknown, but officials cited roof rot and its instability with the walls. The Phoenix Arts and Innovation District founding manager partner Anthony Cho, who we believe that the recent high winds caused the building's accelerated collapse before the scheduled demolition could be completed. So obviously we got a building is about to go down here in a few days, and
I think they've already started.
did it?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's already, they were
went
already
right away.
knocking it out.
Yeah. And obviously, roof rot could have been, the biggest issue. We're roofers, so hey,
Yeah, and turn the power on in about a year or two, or probably been a couple
Man, that
years.
thing's been dilapidated.
Right.
That thing's been dilapidated
But
for a
good thing
while.
no one was
It's just
hurt,
a-
thank
Yeah.
goodness. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think when you look through downtown, there's a lot of
that.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of
Right.
there's a lot of vacant real estate.
Yeah.
That I think some of the slow movement of the building process in access to, because like if you wanted me to buy this $500,000 building in downtown Jacksonville and then put $4 million in it to make it usable,
Right.
who's going to want to do that?
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
And then you're going to say it's going to take 12 to 18 months just to get approval through the city to actually do
Yeah.
it by the time, so
Yeah.
I still don't know as much as they say. I don't see it. People that I'm talking to, it's a regulatory hurdle to really get things moving. And, when you look at, $1.2 billion onto that one building in downtown, and, sure, it's going to do what it's going to do. Could we find, a pile of cash to really revitalize this, or help businesses and entrepreneurs come in and like bring something of value to the downtown area?
Right.
Because even when you talk Springfield, man, you got about 4 blocks of historic homes. But as we know, going in and renovating a historic home, it's
It's a challenge.
It's a lot of work.
wildly expensive.
Right.
There's so many things you can't do, and we have these historic districts around,
Right.
Riverside.
San
Right.
Marco.
Say,
yeah.
hey, you can't upgrade these windows. Well, they're all broken. Yeah, well, you got to get the original. They're 200 years old.
At least.
And so it's so difficult.
Right.
It's gotta look like original.
Yeah.
Well, I get the historic nature of things, but it makes it really hard, really expensive, and I think you are hindering
The
growth
growth.
and movement and revitalizing an area that has so much potential. But it's just with the regulatory hurdles you got to
Yeah.
jump through,
For
and
sure.
the cost associated with it. You got to really want to live in Springfield.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I still think it's going to take a lot of time for downtown to be the
Downtown.
next real nice downtown,
Yeah.
like Miami or whatever, because it's going to have to expand out of what we consider downtown right here.
Oh,
To
100%.
make a real downtown.
Oh, 100%.
You can go a few blocks away.
Yeah.
I mean, we can look at it right through our window right here.
Yeah.
And it's like you wouldn't want to go over there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, who am I going to attract as a great business to come in here, take
Yeah.
that over and do it, and then go through all the nonsense that you're talking about, hurdles and this, that, and the other. So we're not quite there yet, and I don't know what it's gonna. I don't know how you fix that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes to open up those, that urban core area
Yeah.
to where it's going to be businesses
Yeah.
that come in here and plant their corporate flag, whatever it is that helps revitalize this whole thing
Yeah.
Yeah.
and brings people down here.
Businesses that are going to attract people to want to come.
Yeah.
Think like Tampa.
Right.
You go to Tampa, there's the aquarium, there's the arts center, there's the museum, there's the trolley that can run you back. There's just so much to do that is really cool, and it's more than just a block. Fort Lauderdale, West Palm. If you
Right.
look at all of the other major cities in Florida, when you get to their downtown epicenter, you're like, wow, this is not. We were actually leaving the hockey game a couple weeks ago. Went to the hockey game. Me and my wife and my children were leaving. We're driving through downtown, and I just started shaking my head. And she's like, "What?" I was like, "This is depressing." It's a Friday night,
Yeah.
and it looks like, 15 minutes before the apocalypse. It's sad to see. There's a couple restaurants, there's a couple bars, there's things moving.
Yeah.
But I was like 6 months ago, we were in, Fort Lauderdale and going through downtown, and it was
absolutely moving.
It's just
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, think if you're not from here.
Yeah.
You come
Yeah.
to downtown,
Come on,
and
man.
this is what you see at Jacksonville.
Look, your
impression is not going to be good.
Man, a few things on that point. One is, I think I've quoted this, is before when Trump came for the Super Bowl, he said, man, Jacksonville's a backwards, he's an upside down city with no good restaurants to eat. That was one thing he said. But I was, flying drone downtown, getting some stuff where we just finished the Davis Street coding and stuff like that. And I was taking some B-roll of the city. And it's funny, when I was in Miami shooting the same kind of content, man, you couldn't get through these buildings. The buildings were just everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, massive buildings. I got through one, and that was it.
You were done.
That was
Yeah,
it.
you
Like,
right
there's,
there, boom.
you know what I mean?
All the
And it's
B-roll
just-
you're getting.
No, literally, and it's one of those things like you can't even shoot it like it's a downtown proper, just because there's just not that. Oftentimes, what it doesn't feel like to me, when you enter a city and the city feels bigger than you,
Right.
and then you're like, man, I want to go and dominate this city. Man, you get in here, you're like, all right, well,
Yeah.
all right, I
That's
guess
it.
Yeah, that's it. And so that's one of the things that there's a few things that we can play into it. One, if you're an investor or an entrepreneur, it's a great time to come in and create something. And that's why I think this city needs visionaries. And needs people that are wanting to take the city to the next level. We can't all just be waiting on, Sean Conn to do the next thing in downtown.
That helps start the process.
100%.
Hopefully others will
Yeah,
follow
like
behind.
we need visionaries and we need
Right.
builders. We need people who are saying, "Man, something can happen in this
There is
city."
value here.
But with that being
100%.
said,
Right.
like Will, like our next article, home prices are on the rise. So they say, and we're waiting to see if interest rates come down, which we don't think they will. Even it might even have been announced since we've been on this podcast. But what does that do to businesses? I mean, is it only because of vacant buildings and they're not worth buying because the prices of it, or is it the revitalization of what you got to do to take over commercial property is why people aren't buying up, either buildings or whatever it is to plant the next big thing.
Well, I think it's it's both, especially when you're talking commercial real estate. The vast majority of the buildings in downtown, right, they're commercial.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Whether it's for businesses or it's
Industrial
apartments,
warehouse.
condos. Well, we don't have a lot of that.
Yeah,
You
a couple buildings over here.
Yeah, there's a small handful. I mean, we got Maxwell House. They've been making
Right.
coffee over there for 100 years.
Yeah.
You go out towards the zoo, the airport. There's some other,
Right.
Things there. But Jacksonville's always been a very service-oriented industry. There is a lot of banking here. There's a lot of banking. There's a lot of finance. There's a lot of restaurants. It might not be 5-star. They're not hitting the Michelin list. But when you look at what's happening inside of commercial real estate and commercial mortgages, and you see the amount of investment that you would have to do just to get that space up, you're going to go to the other side of town and you're going to get that building much cheaper. It's going to be more basic, but it's not going to cost that much. Because what are you doing when you're starting a business or you're moving a business? It's got to be able to make you money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
Take all day to
And
do
if
it,
your
yeah.
burn rate on just getting open, greatly exceeds, your cash on hand, and money's expensive right now, and especially in the commercial space. I mean, there's $1 trillion of commercial loans that are going to come due, and it's going to hurt. And you're starting to see it now, and even on the residential side, in 2020, 2021, it was like 1.7 million adjustable rate mortgages were done. They're all due. Right, so they were done at 3%.
Right.
Now they're going to be 7%.
Yeah, there's going to be opportunity.
There is going to be opportunity, and if you're sitting on the sidelines and you got cash, or you have a decent relationship with a private money group, you could probably get in and be able to get some stuff pretty cheap, both commercial and residential.
Well, how is it then that, because this doesn't sound right, the price, single-family homes in February in our area went up 4%. At the same time, the inventory for homes sales rose 10.7%. Usually, if you got more inventory on the market, prices should be down.
100%.
How is it that they're rising together? And, people still can't borrow money at a decent rate. So how are those? I mean, I can see why inventory is going up, possibly, maybe, but I can't see why the home prices are actually could rise 4% in a month.
So the inventory is increasing. I'm seeing it, right? The homes that are selling are nicer than the average, okay? And the people that are buying them have more cash than the average. So that doesn't surprise me that the average sale price is increasing, because those are the individuals with the
They'll pay.
Yeah, they got the 780 FICO scores.
Right.
They got the 20% down. They're rolling a bunch of equity. They're not struggling into this purchase, and they're buying what they want. Right. So they're able just to step in and do it. So that doesn't surprise me. When you look at the inventory that's increasing and the time on market's increasing, a lot of people are pricing too high. And the new catchphrase in the real estate world is it's not price reduction. I forget the word they're using. They're trying to make the fact that they listed the price incorrectly to start with, and when you price a home accurately for what the market is doing, it will sell fast, even still right now. Yeah. If you don't understand the competition with inside of that geographical area, and you come to market $10,000-$15,000 higher than everything else, it's just going to sit.
Right.
And this person, I want to live in this area, but I don't want to live in this area at a premium. It's not that nice.
Right.
When I can go get this 4-bedroom, 3-bath house for $50,000 cheaper, that's the one I'm going to buy.
Yeah. So, the nicer homes are going to sell. The ones that aren't as nice are priced too high, because that's where all the competition is. Is that kind of what's happening? I
think so. I think that's a big part of it. And also, we're still early in the year, right? We're halfway through March. We're comparing numbers to January, which is historically
the worst.
It's a slow month.
For sure.
So you're not getting a good picture. I think once we get into June and you start taking March, April, and May data, I think that gives you a better picture of kind of where we're going and where we're trending. If you look at December and January, and you're like, oh, we're up from January. Well, of course we're up from January. Right. Oh, we're up 20% from December. Of course we're up.
Right.
Because it's a historically slower time. And with that, you're going to see, bigger swings. And they're usually year after year, if you compare, March to January, it's always going to be up. Right. It's always going to be up. Yeah. And, you're going to start seeing those new listings is probably going to start slowing down a little bit. You'll see an uptick, right after school's out or right before. Nobody's moving at Christmas time.
Right.
Now it's at the first of the year. So February, March, you start to see those increases. And then now you have, buyers and sellers are now both moving at the same time after a slowdown period. So all of those percentages look up. So it doesn't, it's not a big cause of alarm or concern or even joy.
Yeah.
And anyway, this is just the way that it is. It's not surprising at all.
I was talking to a guy who came in 2 weeks ago from New York, and I was, obviously you hear about everything that's happening in New York, and I asked him a question of how is it, being, he leads a community out there. He's a man of faith. He leads a community out there, and he said, the hard thing that's happening is, man, the price of everything is still skyrocketing, but man, jobs are still paying the same that they paid.
Yeah.
And so you're at a place to where, okay, all this stuff is rising, but the income.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, where are you leading people to if the economy itself is not giving back to the people who are giving to the economy? You know what I'm saying? So at a certain point, what do you do? Do those people now, we have more lower income, divisions and projects and all that stuff because of the high, prices for, I'm looking at rent right now.
It's crazy.
And I'm just looking at rent. Right. And I'm like, my gosh. Listen, I'm like, all right, I'm about to.
How do you afford it?
You literally, and so it's just one of those.
I would like to rent somewhere that I'm not going to get robbed.
100%, yeah, for sure. And so it's just, man, always interesting. And obviously, man, Will is our resident. I don't know why I'm saying savant. Savant just keeps coming to mind, but man, he runs in DCRE, man, a great service, man. So if you're looking to, man, buy, sell, man, construct, whatever.
You just need some information, some knowledge.
For sure.
Yeah, we'll help you out. And a good thing, and not to be, overly negative about everything. Mm-hmm. What the city of Jacksonville has been doing specifically in making the city safer.
Yeah.
has been, I mean, from like just homicides in Duval County are down like 54%.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know? The new sheriff,
Okay, Moncrief.
how he's running his team, how they are engaging in keeping the community safe. It's like it's working. You know, this is the first time in probably over a decade where we haven't been leading the state of Florida in homicides.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot of times it is Duval County.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
murder
100%.
capital of the world.
No,
Most
legit.
people, right? Yeah.
You know, I remember a few years back, I was living in Orlando, and I was way safer
Right.
Yeah.
than what was going on up here. So there's with that safety and security, I think other things come alongside it.
Yeah.
You know, new jobs come, new communities start to get developed, and it's all piece of the thing. It's all piece of the pie. And kind of like to your point, you said, what do we do? And I think for the last 30, maybe even 40 years in this country, there's been a large portion of the population that have been waiting for, and this is probably just human nature in general, waiting for someone else to do something that they can benefit from, right? But when you look at, I was talking to some potential buyers a few weeks ago, and they had an income problem, you know, and on paper, they had the decent income, right? But they didn't know how to manage that money, you know. So it's like, okay, you need to get rid of some of this debt. You need to get some of these things paid off, and then once that happens, then come back to me. And they're like, well, you know, we just, you know, and it's hard to make a significant change to change your life.
Yeah.
But it's you know, you might have to, you know, what's Dave Ramsey say? You know, live like
No one else.
live like no one else,
So you can live like no one else. Yeah.
Right.
You know, and you may have to do that.
Yeah.
Or you may have to, what skills do you have? You know, like you do it. You know, like you work here full time, but you're great behind a camera. You're great with
Hustling.
You know,
Hustle every day.
You know, doing other things that may take some time away from Netflix. But if I can spend 2 hours, you know, putting together a wedding, right? Or I spend 2 hours watching the latest, you know, Netflix documentary. Well, that documentary ain't gonna do nothing but cost me money.
Right.
But helping organize an event that makes me money. And
Yeah.
there's so many people that have the
that's so good.
time and
Yeah.
the skills
Very good.
to go
To go out
do
and do it.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
And just everyone do
To,
it.
you know, you could go work 5-6 hours a week doing something on the side, and you've just covered that car payment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And now you can make 2 car payments that month,
Yeah.
and in 6 months that car's paid off.
And there's so many opportunities to do that now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Just pick
Yeah.
up the phone. You know,
sure.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
company is looking for somebody to do sales for their company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's still proven that, you know, whether you have a college degree or not, or you're CEO material or you're not, it doesn't matter. Sales professionals are still one of the highest paid group
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
But where they all fail, they won't get off their butt and go work. They won't go put in the time.
Yeah.
They, you know, I want it. Well,
Yeah.
you don't want it bad enough, apparently, because otherwise you'd be out there hustling, you know, from sun up to sundown, because you know that every time you're doing something, you could be making money.
Yeah, you lead our roofing division, Wes, and you obviously you have people in place with strategic to work with the sales team. What are a few things, right, that you see salespeople? It's like they hung up on these things and they don't excel and they don't get to the next level. What are a few things that you see?
You know, that's an episode. That's a 4-series episode that we're going to tackle the next 4 weeks. But, man, I tell you, you know, and I've done it. I've been a sales guy for years and years, my whole life, and you forget about doing the number one thing, which is going out and always creating a new piece of business. You get wrapped up in controlling what you've either done already or trying to push along what is already in the pipeline instead of going out and always hunting new biz.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, we could have hours and hours and hours on this, but you asked me for one quick thing. You know, if you're a sales guy, a person out there, or whoever it is, I don't care what product, I don't care what company, I don't care how many clients you have and all that is, you know, people run the mistake of spending too much time in their existing client base and not enough time hunting new biz. You know, so, you know, sales guy comes to me and says, oh, I need some money, you know, can I go do this odd thing? And I'm like, why don't you just go sell a new deal?
Yeah.
You get all the money you want for lifetime, you know, if you go out and put some new biz in, but they're trying to nickel and dime, pull out every single last piece of whatever they can out of maybe an existing client or something that's on the hook of closing up or working, or can we speed that one up, you know, instead of going out and getting something new. And that's a huge thing to always just work, you know, put systems in place so everything works the way it should. That's a great thing. And then go out and make sure you're spending enough time each day going after new business, prospecting.
Yep.
That's the key.
I talked to we're currently looking to expand the brokerage as we're looking to bring on sales professionals on the roofing side, and resume came across my desk this morning, and I'm looking through it. Reach out to the applicant. I'm having a conversation with him, and I said, "Tell me about your day." He says, "Well," he's like, "I get up, check my emails, I make 50 calls, I do some training in a 2-hour block around lunchtime, and then I make 50 calls after that." I'm like, "How often do you do that?" He's like, "At least 4 days a week." He's like, "So I'm making between 400 and 500 prospecting calls every week." I'm like, that's the guy that I want.
Yeah.
He's coming in the morning, right?
He'll be here. He'll be Monday at 1. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Monday at 1. Because that's to your point. That's what it takes. You want to nurture your previous clients, and you want to build those relationships, and you want to keep them. But eventually, that one's going to close. It's going to settle. You're going to get that check. You're going to pay your mortgage. You're going to, you're going to do the thing. And now if you rest on, I tell you how many guys that I've met, they were got the plaque, the sales leader for last quarter.
Yeah.
Salesman of the year, and all of those things. Like, what'd you do yesterday? Oh, nothing.
You got to continue to build the pipeline.
Right. And that plaque is not
going to stop if you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to. You have to. And those that have the energy and the drive to consistently go out and hunt, they have the ability to create whatever it is that you want to make, because it's easy to quantify. It's like, I want to make $200,000 a year. Okay. All right. So I need to sell 2 roofs a week.
Yeah. Yeah. In our world. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it usually desperation comes from a small pipeline.
Yeah.
And then so they have to grasp onto every last single thing that they got, trying to squeeze that instead of going and building a bigger pipeline. And if they just understood, if they had a bigger pipeline, all of their problems would be solved.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. It's easy, right? Is just build a bigger pipeline, have so much in it that you don't have time to squeeze everything out of it. Stuff's just going to be popping out the other end, calling you instead of you calling it. That's where a big fail happens. Is I got a couple new business. I gotta spend all my time on that, and the pipeline ain't big enough. So once that either closes out or dies out or whatever happens to it, now you're like, oh crap, I need to go do something, make $100. No, you need to go do something, make $2,000.
Yeah, because the only enemy to future success is current success.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that one more time. The only enemy to future success is current success.
Woo, I told you, we have 4 series episode on going on right here.
You know what I mean? So it's really, and obviously the stuff you do today will edge out what you want to do tomorrow. And so, man, we're excited about, what is going on at DeVore Capital. Excited about, DCRE, roofing division. Man, we got the solar shingle, ad just went live, man. We're excited to see what that does. And in that, you want to just share a little bit on that before we close?
Yeah, I mean, check us out. Go to our webpage and check out the video. We're doing something special right now.
Yeah.
I mean, GAF, they're a great partner of ours, and we're proud to be, very exclusive with GAF and being one of the only solar people to bring their nailable solar shingle made in America to the market to combat, to grow solar, but at the same time combat the old solar that tears up roofs. And we just took some solar panels off a roof the other day. We replaced every piece of decking on it with all these holes and water damage, and the homeowner was wrecked. He was just like, man. And now he does. Now, of course, now he's not putting those panels back on. It's like, thank you, right? But it's great. And so we want to bring this to the market. So we made a conscious decision that for a time being, it's not going to last forever. But if you look to us and we'll help you figure out if we can put some solar on your house, especially if you need a roof on top of it. And we'll do the solar at cost. So, you pay for your roof, but this roof will pay you back because it's going to be making money on the energy.
Yeah.
Which is going to pay off your upgrade because I'm going to do that upgrade portion at our cost. And then, the rest of everything you're earning for the next 25 years is going to go towards your roof. So it's awesome how the whole program can be put together. But just the technology behind it, we could spend a lot of time on it. Check us out on the website. Go to GAF Energy. Yeah. Just check out the technology behind it. They're on their 2nd generation of shingles now, so they're bigger, badder, and they've worked out all the kinks, and it's just only going to get better as this industry grows. Traditional solar is on its way out. Yeah, there is no doubt 100%. About it. So we just found a way to jump ahead of that curve. Yeah, people should not be thinking traditional solar.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah.
You know, if it's got to bolt into your roof, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah.
Not good.
Well, it can be integrated as part of it, you
Yeah.
know, and that's what does it look like, right? It's
Yeah.
it's aesthetically pleasing, which definitely, you know, is a plus, but it integrates into the roof system. It creates the energy that you can use inside of your home and also kick it back to the municipality, which is also a cool thing too, when that's where the savings and the paying for itself comes, you know, in time. And it's super awesome.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, man. That's DeVore Live, man.
Hey.
Man, very, very good episode. Very intriguing. Man, go Duke, Blue Devils. Man, we have slotted.
I'm with you. Go Duke.
We've slotted them to win it all at the NCAA tournament. Man, this is DeVore Live. Man, we talk all things Jacksonville business, real estate, man, and life. It is sponsored by DeVore Capital
And
Group.
check us out on everybody's page. Everybody's got a page.
Yeah, go
DeVore.
ahead, man. Shout out your socials, Jason.
Jason Holland, Facebook. Go look me up Facebook.
What up?
That's about all I got. Instagram.
Awesome.
LinkedIn, everything else.
Awesome.
You can, find it,
You can
Jason
definitely
Holland.
find them at Diamond Deason.
Yes, sir.
Go like my page. Follow me. We'll talk all things sports, business, and otherwise.
Awesome.
Yep. So at I am Will 904 on Instagram and the Will Podcast on YouTube.
Awesome.
I'm excited for tomorrow. We're recording a new episode.
Very, very good. That's
Can
gonna
I
be-
drop it a look? Can I
Yeah,
give it a
yeah.
hint?
Give a little teaser.
us a
Give a little
little
All
teaser.
right. So we
Little
have
teaser,
an exclusive interview with the newest mayoral candidate for Duval County.
Hey,
Looking forward to filming that tomorrow. We're going to get it out as soon as possible. Man's got a vision. He's following what God's asked him to do with his life, and he is hitting some key points on needs of the city, and I'm excited about that. So it's going to be
very,
fun
very
also.
excited. Very, very excited. Y'all look out for that. That's going to be at the I Am Will podcast. You can look me up at EA FOMM and Afternoon 2 FOMM on Facebook. Man, peace and love. We love you guys. See you guys next week.